Okay, class, I'm about ready to start the explosion of the head tutorial that will be your collage self-identity. Yesterday I told everybody to find a selfie or some kind of photo of themselves that we will be kind of chopping up today. So the first thing you want to do is open up Photoshop, go to File, Open, and then you'll find your image wherever you saved it, whether it was Google Docs or the school folder on the server, or a thumb drive if you had it. And here I have an old photo from last year, I think, or the year before. Anyway, what I'm going to do is you can use the crop tool if you need to crop down any of the extra space. But I think mine's cropped enough, so I'm not going to do that. So I'll double click, edit, undo. Also, now that we're in Photoshop, I want to remind you, or if you didn't know, tell you, that it really is helpful to have history opened up, and I like to drag it over here. This is a really easy way to undo anything that you don't like. So once we have a photo that's cropped of ourselves, we're going to use the marquee tool, and we're going to select that and copy it. Now you can use shortcut keys if you want to. Control V, Control C. Next, File, New. And we want it to be in inches, not pixels. And we want it to be around 8 by 10. That's my go-to number. And let's bump up the pixels per inch to about 150. Click OK. Now we need to paste our headshot in here. And we also need to unlock the background. You can see here the little lock. We got to unlock that, so double click. It'll have that popped up. Hit OK. I'm going to click on it to rename it. And I'm going to name this one Original The next thing we need to do is make sure we're on the layer that has our picture. And you can select the move tool up here if you want to move it around. To make this image larger, I'm going to hold down Control T, and that'll pop up these little arrows. Now instead of just dragging one of these bars like that, it kind of gets a little distorted. So instead of doing that, I want to hold down the Shift key while I drag the arrows up, and this keeps it in proper proportions. And then you can have it wherever you want. I'm going to have mine kind of going off the page a little bit, I think. Double click to get out of the transformation tool. And now I kind of have a harsh edge here, so I want to use the eraser tool. And I'm going to change my brush. I like the softer brushes that are kind of fuzzy. I'm going to increase my size. And I'm going to change the opacity. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. This way it doesn't erase everything all at once. It kind of fades it and feathers it a little bit. Get rid of anything extra that you don't want. Okay, I think that looks pretty decent. Now we're going to use a tool called the magnetic lasso tool. It's the third icon down, and you might have to long press on it to get to the actual tool. Now for this, I'm going to zoom in. I'm holding down Control Spacebar and clicking with my mouse. Then if you just hold down Spacebar, you can move it a little bit as needed. My computer's running a little slow. I might get it where I want it. Alright, there we go. Now for this step, this is what's going to crop our head in half. So with this magnetic tool, I'm just going to start at the ear because I'm going to try and crop right along my glasses. And this tool is pretty neat because it automatically, magnetically follows lines that are already in the picture. But again, if you mess up, just go back a step on the history panel right here. So you'll click and then kind of move along. You want to make sure you're on the working layer, not the bottom white layer. Just kind of follows the contours for us. So now we have our line, but we have to go up and around. I'm going a little large. And then you connect it to where you first started until you see the round circle. That will create a selection for us. And with that selection, I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to cut it. And now it's gone. I'm going to go down here and create a new layer. And I'll zoom out so we can see now. And I'm going to hit Paste. So now we have our head, but we don't want the head to be upright. We want it to be tilted in some fashion. So we go back and use Control T. And I'm going to spin it a little bit and have it tipped up on its side over here. Double click to get a Control T. And now if I zoom in, you can see that we have some harsh edges. Now we want to get rid of those edges, so we're going to go over here and we can use the blur tool or the smudge tool. I prefer the blur tool. Now up here controls our brush size, just like the eraser, and our strength is 50%, so it's not super strong. That's good. I want a soft brush, and I'm going to try and smudge out this harsh outline. But again, make sure you know what layer you're on, because right now if I try and do this, I'm not on the layer I need to be on. The layer I'm on is for the top of the head, not the bottom. So I'm going to go back down to the original, and that way I'm on the layer I need to be to smudge this and kind of make this not so harsh. Now I want to do this section. Whoa! This section right here, so I got to go up a layer, and I can start softening that edge. I'm using kind of upward strokes. Don't be afraid to experiment. You can always click undo. Let's try the smudge tool. That kind of makes it grow a little bit. I don't know if I like that. Alright, so I'm happy with this so far, and now it's time to incorporate our images. Let's go ahead and summarize things up. At this point in time, you should have a background layer that's completely white, named background. We have our head base layer right here, and I went ahead and filled in the background with white as well. And then we have the head top layer, and right now I'm going to go ahead and use the paint bucket. I'm going to change the color to white, and I'm going to fill that background with white. Oh, I was on the wrong layer. Oh, I don't want to do that. Undo. I had a reason why I had it white, so we could see the other head through it. So let's go back and undo that. That was simple. So this is what you should have at the end of the hour today. Your head base, cropped and ready to go. Your head top, cropped and ready to go. Everything should be smoothed out using the blur tool, or you can try the smudge. And you shouldn't have anything in the background. That should all be deleted. So have fun, experiment, and don't be afraid to ask some questions.